Hello, my friends, and welcome to Cathy Chat. I am thrilled beyond words today to let you meet someone that actually has a handcrafted gift. I have seen her work. She is phenomenal. I have visited her website. I stalk her all the time. Today, you get to welcome and meet Alise Kabakoff of Knit Me Sew Me fame. Alise, how are you?
I am great, Cathy. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
I love having you on here because I get to follow you and Lucky Ducky around the world. So tell us a little bit about your company, first of all, and how you actually started a company that has handcrafted items.
Okay. Well, my mom taught me how to knit and crochet when I was 13. So that was over a century ago.
Wow.
I mean, half a century ago. Oh my God, I'm dating myself.
I was doing the math.
Yeah, I know you were. I know you were. And I learned how to sew in grade school and in high school. And I also did sewing in college. And throughout my life, I've always done some kind of crafts, whether it was those three things, or if I was doing latch hook rugs or needlepoint or crewel or whatever. But I always did something. And so when my husband and I got together and we started sharing an apartment, the rent was cheap. And I found this designer yarn store in Santa Monica, and I joined their Sweater of the Month Club. And, I would walk in there every month and drop $300-400 on yarn to make a sweater or a sweater set. My husband has two beautiful cardigans and a pullover. And my mom came to visit in 2000. And I said, Mom, I've got all these sweaters and sweater sets. I mean, I don't really need to make any more. What do you think I ought to do? And she says, I think you should start a business. And I'm like, oh, okay. What did I know about that? Absolutely nothing. So the business started under another name, and it was just baby things. So I was making baby blankets, stuffed animals, pillows, bean bags, bottle holders, things like that. And then I kind of branched out and did a division of accessories. So that's when I started making scarves and hats and headbands and head wraps and the fingerless gloves. And then I branched out and started doing a line of home goods. So everything for the home goods section, 99.9% of it isn't made from environmentally safe cotton that you can wash over and over again. But there's so many things for the home that I started making. And then one day, the person who had my first website on his server calls me and says, I'm taking the server down and you have to redo get a brand new website. And I'm like, okay. So I met a gal and we were trying to figure out how we could merge the logo from the company with the scarf logo, because the other logo had a little boy with a wagon and a blanket. And we were just thinking about names. And after 45 minutes, I just threw out, why don't we just call it Knit Me, Sew Me, Crochet Me? And she said, let's just cut it down, call it Knit Me, Sew Me. It's too long the other way. And I go, great. So then we redesigned the logo. So when you look at the logo, you can see that there's the kids stuff on one side, there's the materials in the middle, and there's the accessory stuff on the other side. And away I went. So I was doing this as a hobby. Starting in 2000, it was a hobby that always wanted to be a business because I was still working full time. My husband and I had purchased a house, and thank God we bought it when we did, because we couldn't afford it now, in Los Angeles, by the way. And so I was just doing it on nights and weekends and on the train. I worked in downtown LA, so I would take the Metrolink downtown. So I would work on the train and do my boutiques and stuff on the weekends. And that's the way it was until November of 2020 during COVID, when I got laid off. And by that time, I was almost 67. And my husband said to me, what do you want to do? And I said, honey, I've been working for other people for over 50 years. I'm done. Mentally, I'm checked out. I don't want to work for anybody else anymore. I want to see what I can do if I do Knit Me, Sew Me full time. And so we sat down, we looked at our finances and everything. He goes, I'm okay with that. So that day, it became a business that used to be a hobby. So I've been doing Knit Me, Sew Me full time. November will be 4 years.
Oh my gosh.
And I must say that it's probably been the hardest thing I have ever done in my life for the least amount of money I've ever made. But the flip side to that is I'm able to share my passion and my joy for handcrafted products with the world. And that's my joy. You know, I'm not in this to make millions and millions of dollars. I just want to make a little bit of money so I can go on a cruise every now and then or something like that. My husband and I can go on a nice vacay. But for me, it's just seeing the joy of people sending me pictures of the kids wearing the hats, or the adults wearing the gloves and the hats for them, or people using things in the kitchen, or a little boy who opened up a tooth fairy pillow, and, you know, a box with a tooth fairy pillow. So for me, that's my joy. That's my passion. That's why I get up every day. I do what I do. And honestly, it's more work than I ever imagined. So honestly, I just thought, okay, I'll have a website, I'll have a shopping cart, and I'll do my boutiques in the fall, and that'll be it. And it's like, no, it is so much more than that.
Now, one thing I wanted to ask, you mentioned that when back in the college days, you were sewing. What did you sew back then? Because I noticed the evolution of what you started out making. You said the hook rugs, things like that. And now, of course, I've seen your line currently. How did that whole evolution switch around from a standpoint of mostly sewing? What did you do then? And now into the knit me, sew me part?
Well, I lived in Phoenix, and you know, Phoenix in the summer,
Yes.
it's
Yes.
hotter than Hades. Yes. And so I used to make all my own summer clothes. You know, we would make like sleeveless tops, sleeveless shifts, quarter sleeve pantsuits and things like that. Okay. So I used to make all my own summer clothes. And winter clothes, no, not so much. I did do a really intricate blazer in college, and it was hard, but it came out really pretty. But I used to make all my own clothes. And then once I started working, you know, I left home and, you know, entered into the work environment. I really didn't have that time anymore. And I didn't have a sewing machine handy because I always used the ones at school. So I just kind of picked up the knitting instead. So away I went with, you know, different things that I was making and vests and cute things like that. And I was always looking for something different. And I didn't realize how important handcrafted was until I saw all the stuff that comes over from abroad. And the fact that, first of all, you don't know who made it. It could be a child.
Good point. Good point.
It could be a child for all you know. You don't know, there's a label on it, but can you trust what's actually on the label as far as the content and the washing instructions and things like that? And I thought, you know, I'm going to do this differently. So every product that Knit Me Sew Me sells has a care instruction and content tag on it. So when you turn it over, you'll see what the yarn is. You'll see everything that I do with a stuffing nature is hypoallergenic polyester fiber fill.
I was just going to ask you about that. Okay, yeah. Good. Yeah.
Yep. And then how to take care of it. And for me, that's really important that people know how to do that, because I'm literally wearing scarves that I made myself 25 years ago that look absolutely brand new. And in April, when I was doing the boutique crawl in Simi Valley, 2 girls came in. I hadn't seen the one. I used to ride the train with her. I hadn't seen her in like over 20 years. And she said, "We're still wearing the scarves we bought from you over 20 years ago, and they're still beautiful and they're perfect." And that's why I do what I do. I don't want people to buy something. There's an old saying, buy cheap, buy twice. But if you spend a little bit more for something that's handmade by an expert like me, it can last you for decades. So in essence, even though you might be paying a little bit more money up front, you're going to save a whole lot of money down the road because you're probably never going to have to replace it. And that's another reason why I do what I do. I love special orders.
I'm going to use buy cheap, buy twice for my business as well. I love that.
Yeah. Yep. I heard that somewhere not too long ago. It's like buy cheap, buy twice. I'm like, oh my God, I have to adopt that as one of my favorite sayings.
I love that.
And so everything's evolved. I mean, I didn't really know anything about Google. I had my websites on Wix. I didn't really know how to maintain it, but I've learned. Um, Somebody from Alignable did my shopping cart on Square because that's my point of sale. And I now know how to maintain my shopping cart. Square and Wix are great with me for customer service if I have a question. I've had a couple people on Alignable who have just bent over backwards to help me and didn't charge me a dime.
Oh my
So
goodness, that
for,
is fantastic.
yeah, and for them, I am eternally grateful, and they know who they are. So you asked about Ducky. Okay, so let me see. Can you see Ducky?
We can see Ducky. How
Here's
did Ducky come to be?
Okay, Ducky came to be in the early summer of 2022. I was on a networking call on Alignable, and I was in a breakout room with somebody. And I told her my sister and I were planning to go to Europe towards the end of July. And she says, well, do you have any products that you could take with you? Kind of like a flat Stanley sort of thing. I'm like, oh my God, I could take a duck. So I took the bright yellow duck. He weighs like next to nothing. I threw him in a baggie, put him in my backpack, and I schlepped that duck all over Europe, from Athens, in Greece, Montenegro, Croatia, and Italy. Okay,
Oh
so
my
the
gosh.
duck went everywhere. And I cannot tell you how many people, even on the ship, came up and says, what's with the duck? And they wanted pictures with the duck. Everybody wanted pictures with the duck. I mean, my sister and I were like laughing this whole 3 weeks we were gone because the duck
Genius,
was like the hit. So I took Ducky, and then at the end of 2022, I raffled him off. And the person who won him then took him back to Europe in April of 2023. So there's on Knit Me Sew Me's YouTube channel, there's a playlist called Lucky Ducky Goes to Europe. And then there's another one called Lucky Ducky Goes to Europe Again. And then this past late August, early September, my sister and I went to New York for the US Open tennis and to go sightseeing. So we took Ducky, and there's a whole playlist, Lucky Ducky Goes to New York. And
Unbelievable.
the videos are just hysterical. They are so funny. You should see my sister and I just cracking up. So this past weekend, I was in San Diego visiting my sister, Sharon, and we were getting facials. So I took Ducky, and Lucy, who did our facials, she put a towel around his head and all this other stuff. So Ducky got a facial. So there's going to be, I have to talk to Kim, my social media gal, to do a video on that. And then we also went to Petco Park to see a Padres game. So Ducky went to the ball game. Take me out to the ball game. So those are going to be coming up. I just sent out 2 Duckies today to folks in Florida. And I've sent several to Missouri. My friend Pam took hers to Hawaii. Somebody else took one to Hawaii. Someone took one to Oregon. Somebody took one to the Renaissance Fair. And then someone took him to the mall. So there's all these cute little short videos of where you can take the duck. So yeah, so he's now starting to take off. I've got a whole bunch of ideas, which I'm not going to talk about now because I want to make them happen first, and then maybe we'll do another one. But he's like, he has his own QR code now, and he has his own business cards.
Unbelievable. Now, I love yellow, but what if my signature color for my company is royal purple? Do you make different colored duckies?
Yes, I do. If you hopped onto the website under Lucky Ducky, one of my friends, actually 2 of my friends, are Scentsy representatives, and their colors, company colors, are purple and green. So I made them purple ducks with a white beak and white feet, and then I put the green ribbon around their neck. And one of those girls also is an Origami Al representative, so I made hers in teal and white. And then somebody from Alignable is a Mary Kay representative, and I made her a duck in pink and black.
Oh my gosh. Well, it sounds like Lucky Ducky. First of all, like I say, genius marketing. Second of all, Lucky Ducky on the road. And I think that is just magnificent. And I have been stalking you for several years now, and I have seen things like baby blankets and just like you said, the fingerless gloves. How how available are you to make something custom? If somebody said, I'd love to have, would you be willing to see if that was possible?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Matter of fact, I just finished a custom baby blanket last night.
Wow.
And I met a gal on, she called me from Knit Me Sew Me's Google business page. She taught herself to crochet, and you should have seen her first blanket. I mean, she hit it out of the park. But I did an applique for the blanket, and I sewed that on. And now I've got her second and third blankets. I made bear paw appliques for one of them. The other one, I'm making a Jeep applique. And so people ask me, my sister-in-law asked me for a toilet paper cover. It's like,
oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I said, give me the measurements of the toilet paper roll because they're all different. And I made her this fantastic toilet paper cover. I mean, people have asked me for so many things that are absolutely incredible. I met this gal, Christine, at the Calabasas Pumpkin Festival in 2021. She has really bad sinus and allergy issues, and she bought these hats, crocheted hats in San Francisco. She lost all of them except one, and she says, can you make these for me? I said, well, you need to come over and bring me the hat so I can see what it is. And she brought me a bag of yarn, the hat. I wrote the pattern while she was sitting there. And so far, I've made her close to 20 hats. She picked up 7 more yesterday.
Oh my gosh.
The way it's got a brim, and it helps her sinuses, and she doesn't get sinus problems anymore. And she said, you're like my second doctor. And I'm like, oh my God, that's so great. So
wow.
I pretty much almost all the time I can make it happen. There was one instance where I couldn't. I literally spent a whole entire day on this one pattern, and it just wasn't working. And I finally called the gal and I said, you know, I've spent a whole day on this and I can't find a way to make it work. And she said, don't worry about it. She says, I'm so glad that you tried.
That is so cool. And especially with your flexibility, not to mention your massive talent, the fact that you've been doing this for so many years, and the fact that you literally have a heart for serving people is magnificent. Now,
Absolutely.
Before we go today, I'm thrilled to have you on Cathy Chat. Absolutely. I happen to know, since I stalk you, that you had a celebrity sighting. Tell us about that.
Oh, yes. In December, I was at the Agora Hills Holiday on the Hill boutique. It was a Friday night and Saturday. And Friday night, Jane Seymour was there. She had a table, you know, that heart collection that she does for Zales. She also does it in scarves and wearables and things like that. So she happened to be walking around, and she came into my booth, and I introduced myself, and I said, would you be okay taking a picture with me? And she said, sure. She said, no, of course I'll take a picture with you. And as she got next to me, I just whispered in her ear, you're the first famous person who ever came into my booth. So I got more hits on that post every time I post it than probably all my posts combined. So I'm hoping I get that happening with maybe her and maybe somebody else. But you know, I'm always open.
Oh, absolutely. I think that is so exciting. The picture of the two of you on your website is seriously magnificent.
You think we were sisters? We have the same hairdo.
Exactly. Yes. And the fact that she was so gracious to do the picture thing just makes us love her all the more. So that is magnificent.
Yep.
Now, Alise, before we say farewell to our Cathy Chat audience, I would love to know something that you would like to share, how to find you, think outside the box. What would you like our audience to know before we say farewell today?
Well, there's a few ways that you can find me. First of all, you know, Knit Me Sew Me has a Google business page. And you can, my email address there, my telephone number is there because I'm getting phone calls for things. The website address is there. You can also go to the website at knitmesewme.com and look around. And then if you'd like to shop, there's a shop tab in the ribbon, and then you hover over it and it clicks down. I also do a lot of in-person boutiques in my area. So I'm in the San Fernando Valley part of Los Angeles, but I do boutiques in Orange County and Ventura County in LA. So I usually have a pretty busy schedule between the middle of September and the middle of December. But I also have people who come over and shop in my dining room. So it's not set up like a boutique or anything. I mean, everything's in boxes like labeled fingerless gloves, hats, da-da-da-da. Whatever they want to see, I take the boxes out and we go through everything. So it's kind of a very pleasurable, laid back sort of experience. And one of the things that I want people to know is I am old school retail. So when you come into my booth or you call me or you email me, I will do everything I can to give you the best personal customer service that you could ask for. And for me, I've had people call me and ask me if I do knitting and crocheting lessons, and right now I don't. But now I found a place where I'm referring people to. So, and that's what I'm known for. I'm honest, I'm transparent, I'm truthful, I'm helpful, I'm funny.
Yes, you are.
I'm a laugh a minute. So come see me or call me or email me or whatever, but I'm here to serve. And I just want to share my gift with the world.
Well, you're doing a great job of that, and I'm thrilled to have you today on Cathy Chat. My
Thank
friends,
you.
if you would like to learn more, not only about Alise Kabakoff and Lucky Ducky and Knit Me Sew Me, this is the place to be. KnitMeSewMe.com. Definitely connect with Alise from a networking standpoint, if nothing else. And something tells me you would make a fantastic podcast guest for other podcast hosts, my friend.
Yes, I've been on several already. I have another one booked, and I'm going to book another one.
Fantastic. Well, thank you again for joining us today on Cathy Chat and Alise. Continued success to you as we watch Lucky Ducky travel the globe.
Thank you, Cathy, for having me. I adore you.
Thank you so much. Bye now.
Bye.